Going to different bodies of water is educational, challenging, can be very satisfying, can be frustrating as well. And when you do that and you begin to travel and open up other bodies of water outside of your comfort zone, I think it makes you a better angler. Right now, we've spent a lot of time in the last 6 months just visiting a variety of small bodies of water, just randomly kind of picking them out on the map, doing just a basic background research, because you're not going to find out a lot of information on a lot of these small bodies of water. And by small, I'm talking less than 1,000 acres. And you just kind of go. And the reality of that is it's like a big creek arm, a big bay. It's your own private scenario a lot of times. And some of these can be hidden gems, others can be absolute busts. So you just kind of got to get out on the water and see what you can't figure out. Yeah, we're up in North Texas right now, up around Bonham, and there's a series or variety of lakes in this area that a person can go fish. And you know, and that's pretty common in just about every county and every place across the United States. You kind of can look on a map and choose places to go. You can do a little research, whatever it may be. And we were able to, you know, run around and look at all of them on this trip here. And it made it kind of fun for me to see all the different nuances. But one thing for sure, the fish were bank shallow, wanting to spawn on all three bodies of water. The west bank of this little creek that we're in right here has a really big algae bloom. I mean, we're only, I don't know, 300 yards to the other side, and that wind's blowing in there. Water temperature was 66, it's 63, 64 over here, and there's algae bloom really bad. Now, there's a few little blooms of algae here, but not as bad. And so when we were trying to fish the bank over there, we couldn't get to it. It was real slimy. That's not to say there's not, you know, some fish over there in it, but what we're trying to do, and the way these fish are probably setting up to spawn, I like the way this bank looks a little better. And what we're actually doing, trying to get a reaction bite right now, is throwing a frog, a popping frog. And I'm throwing the popping frog in here versus other styles of frog because I want to actually make a little bit more noise out here to kind of agitate them. It's a little bit, you know, a little windy, and I think that popping frog is going to give you a better chance to call that fish up and get that bite. Doesn't mean one or the other isn't going to outperform the other, but it's what I have the most confidence in the situation that we're dealing with. You had to be there in the slop, buddy. That's awesome. Come here. Tell you what, I am lining up for the next one. We're going to power pole down right there. Oh, yeah. Just a fun little 2-pounder in the slime. That's such a fun bite. I'd actually turned my head. Wasn't paying attention, turned around, my frog was gone. So that means jerk. And we've been covering a lot of water kind of running through here. You can just see this slop all through here. So a mix of cattails, pads, some kind of emergent little, I don't know what that is next to it, and lots of filamentous algae. And so far, we've had 2 blow-ups in, I don't know, 120 yards, and I could do this all day long for 2 blow-ups every 120 yards.
There's no feeling like it. When you've prepped the gear, done the research, found the spot, nailed the presentation, and now there's only one thing left to do. Keep fishing. So gear up with all the best fishing gear, only at Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Shop in-store or online.
When there's miles of water in front of you and hundreds of feet below, you need a boat with the chops to dominate, no matter the conditions. With the strength and technology to overcome the elements and the competition. Ranger Boats, still building legends, one at a time.
You have a full-time job and you want to be a full-time angler. Don't waste time scouting. You want to catch fish. That's where Garmin comes in. Our mapping with Navionics data lets you see more detail than the fish do. It's kind of a big deal. Oh, and our industry-leading live sonar is so crisp and clear you'll think you jumped in. You're welcome. Now, if only we had a powerful, efficient, whisper-quiet trolling motor. Actually, we do. It's called Force. We knew you'd like that. Less time finding, more time catching fish. Only with Garmin.
You know, the popping frog by SPRO, in comparison to a lot of frogs, they've all got a different action, big, small. You know, you can trim the tails, and that's always something to keep in mind when you're fishing, because there's certainly a time when some will outproduce others. The other thing I think to keep in mind is your rod selection. You know, if you throw you know, and I'm not saying there's not times that I don't throw a super heavy, you know, rod with very little tip on it when I'm fishing a big lily pad field or something, and I know that, you know, I don't have a lot of chance to get those fish out without something with a ton of backbone. But I actually prefer really about a 7'1", 7'4" rod with a, you know, a little bit of a tip to it that I can work the bait, where I can actually walk the bait side by side and leave it in the same spot, and, you know, and not make a ton of noise with it. It's just darting action back and forth, and then sometimes I just want it just dead sticking. It's just sitting there and those fish will blow up on it. You know, when it comes to the popping frog or any hollow-bodied frog, what I'm looking for are holes where I think a fish is going to be setting up to ambush, and I want to present my bait just past that or right on the edge of it, and then work it through there where they can come out and eat it. And it might be kind of an overhanging piece of buckbrush, a willow tree that's got a hole there, maybe a hole between the cattails and whatever type of water willows that are growing on the bank, or it could be a point or a hole in any type of vegetation. I mean, that's the stuff that I'm wanting to target. I'm not just randomly throwing it around out in the middle of nowhere trying to get a bite. I'm not saying you can't be successful doing that, but I'm looking for places that I think a fish is going to set up either A, to ambush, or B, to spawn in, and I want to present that bait in that area to get a reaction strike. We're playing a dangerous game right here. We're over 14 cattails, but we'll make that cast all day long. We're throwing 60-pound Sunline braid in there. One bites it, we're gonna turn his head. There he goes. Got him. Yeah, buddy. He's not very big, but that was fun. That's almost a called shot right there. Oh, son, you're not big, but you made us look like we're heroes right there. That was so fun. That's actually kind of two fish off that kind of around that one laydown. We caught one on the right-hand side, got one there on the left-hand side. And we are gonna make another cast back in there. Calmer got a hold of you. Thank you, sir. Picking a bait for bass fishing is $1 million question. There's a reason why when you open this boat and look in there, there's so many different baits and so many different colors and so many different sizes. It's because there's a time and place for each one of them. Same thing for the rods and reels. There's a time and place for each one of those. The one thing I can tell you for certain that you really need to be successful in this type of fishing is braided line. Braided line is a must in this presentation. Now, I'm not saying you can't go out and throw it on fluorocarbon or monofilament, because there's gonna be somebody that's gonna do that. I think you're a fool personally, because I want braid in this situation. I want zero stretch. I want something that's gonna cut through that cattails, through that vegetation that I'm trying to fish that bait in, and allow me to get immediate contact with the bait and ultimately that fish. So for me, it's all about braided line. Sunline, 40, 60, 80-pound braid that's specifically designed for frog fishing is my line of choice. That's a big one. We're going over there after him. He's got me in the stuff. He's still on. Oh, he's only a 2-pounder. Boy, he come out of there like a 5-pounder. I would have lied all day long, but what a fun bite. Golly. Hand to hand there. There's no way I get that in without braided line. That's not even a 2-pounder. I thought it was like a 4 or 5-pounder the way he bit it. You bit like a 4 or 5-pounder. I'm gonna hold you way out there and make you look bigger, but that's so fun when they bite like that. Golly. I mean, I'm over everything, but that's the only option that I've got in here to get bites. These fish, the water's real kind of dingy and really murky, nasty out there. And I know there's a way to catch them out there. We just never found it. And once you start getting bit on a bait like this, throwing into the cover, it's hard to beat it if you've got the constitution to get up there and do it.
Coming up after the break, Wade and Jeff switch roles. And Jeff takes control of the trolling motor to go in search of more spawning bass, up shallow. Opposite of Wade's approach, Jeff is flipping a soft plastic bait at the base of all the visible cover. Stay tuned to see how he fares.
The Yamaha VMAX V6 SHO continues to deliver the level of performance that pro bass and multi-species anglers demand. Underneath a bold and aggressive new look, an upgraded charging system with 40% more charging power meets the amped-up demand for today's advanced electronics. The VMAX SHO, raw power, reliability, and exhilarating performance for every angler who loves the sport enough to invest in the best. Yamaha, reliability starts here.
Born in Japan, FC Sniper became the #1 fluorocarbon line in the Japanese market. It transitioned to the US in the early 2000s and continues to grow in prominence with anglers. FC Sniper is the flagship product in the American market and bestseller. It features the perfect blend of abrasion resistance, low memory, and tensile strength. FC Sniper is offered in pound tests that range from 2 pound to 30 pound and in spool sizes up to 1,200 yards. FC Sniper has the strength to guarantee your confidence.
You know, Jeff and I get a chance to do this a couple times a year. We go out and we film each other a lot of times when we're doing that. Everybody else is too busy to go with us, or they don't want to hang out with us sometimes. So we just go out by ourselves, and we'll grab the camera on each other, and it's fun to kind of watch him dissect a piece of cover different than I'll dissect a piece of cover. And this trip is a prime example. You know, I came over here wanting to cover some water, wanting to try to figure out how to catch them, and started getting bites on a SPRO popping frog. We knew fish were spawning. You know, we knew those fish that were blowing up on my popping frog were probably spawners up there as well. And in his mind, he's formulating a game plan by seeing, hey, those fish are really shallow while I was throwing the frog.
You know, I've always said when it gets this time of the year and the fish are spawning or really close to spawning, they can be really tough to catch if you're not actually looking at them and seeing them on a bed. And part of that, in my opinion, is just like when you see a fish on a bed, he's not always easy to catch. A lot of times you have to work him for a while, and if these fish are up here spawning and you're just flipping in these holes and pulling it right out, you know, you could, right there, there's one. Finally got a bite, not a big one, but it is a fish. But what I was saying is you could be flipping in these holes and a fish be in there and he just not bite. He just sit there and look at it because he is on a bed. They're not always protective. But just taking this new stupid crawl and flipping it in there, I've actually rigged it different. I was flipping it, you know, with the jig head earlier. Now I've just Texas rigged it. And partly because of what I'm fishing. With this Texas rig, it just kind of slides through them cattails a little bit easier. You know, when you're flipping and you're picking different baits that you want to flip with, first thing I look at is softness of a bait. I want a bait that's pretty soft, that I can get that hook to penetrate good in. And whether it be a tube or a crawl or a worm or whatever it may be, you just want something that's pretty soft, it's going to have more action, and you're going to get more hookups with it.
The Stupid Craw is the first lure of its kind, designed specifically for the Stupid style rigging method. The bait is 3.7 inches in length, has a realistic crawfish profile, hollow body, and the most active pinchers you'll find in a craw. The Stupid Craw has rigging dots and a hook trough molded right into the body, making it easy to rig straight, weedless, and correctly every time. The pinchers come connected and can be fished that way for a subtle flap on the fall and subdued action on the bottom. An angler can also pinch the tips where they connect and release them for an amazing swimming action on the drop and extra action on the hop. You can also remove the tips completely to give the craw a more finesse appearance and presentation in clear water or pressured conditions. The Secret Lures Stupid Craw is available in 5 different color options, designed to help you get more bites in all fishing conditions.
That was simply a light spot that I seen. Looked like a bed. I flipped it in there, let it set, shake it a couple times, line just starts moving off. That is fun. Stupid crawl. There you go.
Braided line on these bodies of water, to me, is an obvious choice. There's just a ton of emergent cover, and by that I mean there's a ton of stuff from 0, 1 inch to about 3 feet, 4 feet deep. And it's that type of cover that the fish is using to spawn or to ambush prey. And if you go in there with a finesse presentation or too light of monofilament or fluorocarbon, you're gonna get whooped more than you're not gonna get whooped. And I'm not saying you're not gonna find success, I'm not saying you're not gonna get bit, but braided line for a frog or flipping in this type of cover is gonna give the angler doing that a huge advantage over the angler not doing that.
That right there is fun. 65-pound braid, big heavy rod, the stupid crawl, and flipping back into gnarly stuff. It don't get much more fun than that. That's a good fish. And when you're fishing stuff like you've seen us fish today, these thick cattails, whether you're flipping in it, whether you're throwing a frog, whether you're throwing a buzzbait, whatever it may be, braid is always the best to use. Braid has no stretch, and when you get a fish on that stuff, you want to get him out as quick as you can, because if you don't, he's going to get you buried up in it, and you're not going to be able to get him out. So I always go to braid in them instances. When I throw a frog, it's definitely always braid, and you're going to catch more fish with braid. Boy, I got him over everything. There he comes. Man, they're so far back in this stuff. I mean, he smoked that thing. God, that's fun.
You've already discovered the secret to success with the Secret Lures Stupid Tube and landed big one after big one. Well, now, Secret Lures is giving you even more fish catching chances with the all-new Stupid Craw. Sized to fit the 4/0 Secret Lures Stupid Tube jig head, the Stupid Craw has you covered from the brand new 5/16 ounce down to an 1/8 ounce jig head. On the belly of the craw, you'll find 2 molded dots that act as a rigging guide, giving the jig head perfect alignment when rigged. The Stupid Craw also boasts a hook trough that protects the hook from snags and vegetation, allowing for a perfect weedless presentation. Anyone at Secret Lures will tell you the Stupid Craw is 3.7 inches of crawdad goodness that you're going to want in your tackle box this year. So head on over to secretlures.com for more information about the brand new Stupid Craw by Secret Lures.
Tired of doing this?
Oh, yeah!
Get a can of this and spend more time doing this.
Got one! Yeah! Whoa!
Marine Pro Fuel Treatment helps marine engines start easier, run smoother, and last longer. Seafoam! Marine Pro, new from the makers of Seafoam. Marine Pro is a complete marine fuel system treatment. Just pour it in. Fast starts and smooth running power have never been this easy. Ask for Marine Pro wherever marine products are sold.
You know, this bait is made with 2 dots on it to help you rig this bait correctly. There's a dot down here at the bottom, and there's a dot up here at the top. And what you're gonna do, you're gonna go in with this hook at the bottom of the bait, come all the way up, and come out right on that top dot. You see my hook's coming out, there's a dot right there. Comes out just perfect. Slide your bait up through here. This is simply just getting the head of this jig head inside the tube. Pull it up, turn it over, and just stick it right up to the top. And then you have another dot down here at the bottom. Go straight in that dot. Bring it out the other side, right in the center, like that. That way you can just skin hook that bait. Be sure your lead head is at the top of the bait. And just poke this hook out, the eye of the bait out. You want to be sure when you poke this out, just to look at it, be sure it's right here in the center. Poke it out just like that. Then ever how you want to do it, if you're in cover and you want to skin hook it, just skin hook that bait where it's weedless, and that's how you rig it right there. I like the Texas rig more for flipping heavy cover, but if I'm out in more open stuff, I like to put the jig head in there. And that's really the two basic ways you want to fish it. Throw it out there and drag it around, or flip it. A little better. That fish, I was reeling it up that cattail, and I couldn't even see my bait back there, but I could see that fish blowing up, thinking he's got to be on my bait. And he finally got up there and ate it. That was a little better fish, healthy fish. The stupid craw. I really like this bait for flipping. It's a little bulkier bait, and them legs, you can see it's got a big body, but real small legs, or small coming off right here, which gives it a lot of action. And man, you can just, throw it up in them cattails and just swim it through there. I mean, I've actually had 2 fish today eat it when I'm just reeling it in. Good soft bait. And that's one thing you want to look for in any soft plastic. The softer the better. I mean, you want that thing to have a lot of action and be able to get a hook to it when you set the hook. Good bait. Gotta get another one. Man, there's just so many ways to rig this bait. So many different ways to fish this bait, deep, shallow. It is an awesome bait. It has sure been fun fishing with it today. It's been a good day. There's one. Boy, I mean, as soon as I picked up on it, up in fire poles, I mean, he was just there. Nice, fat, healthy fish. Man.
That'll do it for this episode of the Bass Pro Shop's Fisherman's Handbook. Thanks for watching, and best of luck out on the water. This has been a Carico TV production. This episode was made possible by these partners.
From sun up to sundown, day in and day out, we work hard. We play hard. And to keep us going during those long hours, we demand performance. Angle Coolers, the original high-performance cooler.
TH Marine has been producing top-of-the-line marine accessories to rig boats from transom to trolling motor for decades. From jack plates to fish care to LEDs, TH Marine has you covered. TH Marine, outfitting your boat from transom to trolling motor.
The Little John family expands with new rattling versions of the Little John 50 and Little John 50 MD.
Both of these baits are proven fish catchers that will now be available in rattling versions for stained and muddy water. They feature the same grade action and diving depths as the original 50 and MD sizes.
I got my power pole down, stuck in the mud in the bottom of the lake, sitting so still in the wind and the waves, could even be a hurricane. I got my power pole down.
We don't have a large laboratory to test baits. Why, you ask? We don't need a big laboratory because our pros fish, our employees fish, our owners fish, and our kids fish. This is our laboratory. Our R&D comes from time on the water. All that time on the water brings us thousands of hours of testing new products and improving current ones for all species. Big Bite Baits, designed to bring the big bite to your line.